Hi Team Space, welcome back on my YouTube channel. To celebrate my channel, which has now more than 10 subscribers, I bought the SFS version on Steam to provide content with a higher quality. This video is somehow special because I will show you how to reconstruct the orbiter I presented to you in the previous episodes. So let's build this pretty useful spacecraft. First of all, we are placing a heat shield that serves as a primary heat protection for the vehicle. It is important to note that the heat shield must face the upper edge of the build space. In the next step, we are constructing the basic structure by adding 3 large 12 wide fuel tanks beneath the heat shield. We complete the basic structure by adding 1 smaller fuel tank and placing 3 Frontier engines on the bottom. Next up are the aero covers that help keeping the orientation during re-entry. On each side we place 2 of them at the shown location. Please be aware of the correct orientation. We move forward by placing 2 heat shields on its sides to protect the fuel tank at re-entry. In addition, it is necessary to protect the aero covers from burning. In order to achieve it, the heat shield must overlap the fuel tank. To flip the spacecraft before landing, it is required to add little side thrusters. It is essential to have a correct orientation during the landing procedure, otherwise it would blow up at touchdown. I also recommend you to keep the heat shields of the bottom section ready for the placement, because they also need to overlap the fuel tank. They are slightly bigger to increase drag and keep a nose first attitude on re-entry. Move the thrusters 1 unit inside so that they are protected by the covers at re-entry. We then move on to place the fuel tanks for the side thrusters. To provide fuel to the engines, we must clip these components to the main fuel tank. For the engines on the bottom, we repeat the same procedure as above. To complete this compartment, we are selecting all parts that overlap each other to clip them together as shown in the recording. When you have completed this step, it is now time for the RCS thrusters to be added to the structure. You can personally choose how many thrusters you like to have on your spacecraft. I also recommend you to add docking adapters for fuel transfer in space or docking to one of your space stations. To finalize the structure, you need to add landing legs to land softly back on the ground. Now you are free to color your spacecraft. I personally chose a metallic look for the fuel tanks and a black color for the aero covers. But to lift it into space, we need a first stage that supports the spacecraft on ascent. Therefore, we add a stage adapter and 4 large tanks. This stage is propelled by 2 large Titan engines who have a thrust of more than 400 tons. Once again, you have the ability to color your booster as you like. I prefer the metallic look. But the Titan engines still don't have the capability to lift the spacecraft into space. The thrust to weight ratio is still too low for the booster. Therefore, it is supported by 2 side boosters which provide additional thrust. First of all, we add separators and then continue to build the boosters themselves out of 6 unit wide fuel tanks stacked upon each other. They also receive Titan engines to power the booster. To make the rocket more aerodynamic, I placed an aerodynamic nose cone on each side booster and colored them as well. To finally operate the vehicle, I defined the staging sequence. First lighting the Titan engines, followed by side booster and booster separation. Then lighting the upper stage and engine cutoff. To make the orbiter capable of re-entering the atmosphere, I programmed the sequence as shown on the right side. As you can see, our rocket is still missing a control unit to steer the spacecraft on its journey. You can place it inside the second stage as I show in the recording. When you are finished building your own creation, you can give it a name and save it to use it for multiple launches into space. Now you can press the launch button and enjoy this useful launch vehicle. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like, leave a comment and subscribe.